There is no denying that zombies are freaking awesome. I mean, granted, all what they do is run around and try to eat your brains out, but the idea of a zombie apocalypse is grounded in realism somewhat, because who knows, the current virus going around could mutate and cause anyone who's unfortunately passed away from it to just be reawakened and have a sudden thirst for brains. But regardless of the realism behind zombie apocalypse, when it comes to zombies and their natural horde instincts, it's pretty hard to endure a zombie apocalypse, and it's something that not many people would have the skill set to be capable of achieving, mind you. And this is demonstrated through several different mediums, as we see zombies literally everywhere. For example, in front of you is World War C, where we see them in Walking Dead. Then we also see that transferred to video games in the form of The Last of Us and Days Gone By. All of those glorious examples. But that gave me the question, what if a zombie apocalypse was to infect the Skylands? What Skylanders would be in their best position to survive said zombie apocalypse, and what skills would they bring to the table in order to not only ensure their survival, but the survival of all of the people amongst them? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be counting down today, the top 10 Skylanders that would most likely survive a zombie apocalypse. Now, bearing in mind that the zombies in our hypothetical situation here can bite through anything, so giant chunks of armor like Eyebrow will be doomed if they are bit, and even robotic organisms that don't have any sort of, well, organs to call their own, or any sort of brains for zombies to eat, can still be infected by a zombie bite as well. So basically what I'm saying here is that this isn't going to be your generic Magna Charge and Eyebrow list, because, oh hey, they're robots and armor, so they can't possibly be infested by or infected even by a zombie apocalypse. So that is why these zombies can affect anyone and anything in this given situation. So regardless, we're going to be looking at the Skylanders, the skill sets that they would be able to offer, and how that would help them and the others around them survive zombie apocalypse, as I was alluding to before. And the better these skills are, and the better the Skylanders are at said skills, is what will grant Skylanders higher or lower positions, so to say. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and get in to the top 10 at hand, the Sky Timber. Sorry if you can hear my laptop in the background, it's awfully excited to be talking about zombies and it's overheating itself due to it. But as I digress, everyone's favourite phrase, there's your quote of the day, guys, as per the norm. When it comes to Tidepool coming in at number 10, what makes her so fit to survive the zombie apocalypse is her quick shot skill set. She was put into the quick shot battle class for a reason, and that's because when she, of course, squirts ink at her enemies, she's not only fast but incredibly accurate. In fact, she has a spinning move that can allow her to, of course, shoot off ink in all directions, and this is going to make her very good at taking down huge waves of zombies. They could be all surrounded all around her, and yet she will have the skills to shoot them from a distance, shoot them from all around her, and just naturally get herself out of sticky situations due to her speed and accuracy when it comes to her blasters. And better yet, she doesn't need to worry about resources or ammo, because it seems as though her squids seem to be highly replenishable for ammo and don't ever run out of ink, and she also has other marine life to attack enemies from afar. So in other words, she will successfully keep her distance from zombies and never need to worry about ammo due to the natural resources that she is utilizing to her advantage, you could say, with the marine life that serves as her ammo, mind you. Now, what could harm Tidepool's survival chances is the fact that I'm not sure she'd necessarily work well with others. Now, what would harm Tidepool's survival chances is the fact that if she does get overwhelmed by zombies and they are in all directions, she's only going to last ever so long. However, a demolitions expert will be able to deal with even larger hordes than what Tidepool could handle. But unfortunately, with Boomer's lack of intelligence, I doubt he'd be able to set up demolition traps and be able to get out of them before they blow up the poor little troll himself as well. But case in point, a demolitions expert to have on your team is going to come in great use throughout the zombie apocalypse, and that's a very unique skill set to Boomer amongst the Skylanders cast. So naturally you're going to want him as an ally, and that's going to make Boomer a very precious target for group, and then naturally you're going to want to protect him and his skill set that can keep the rest of the group alive, because as I said earlier, him being able to set up traps with his explosives and naturally know how to work his way around dynamite is going to make him very useful for taking out hordes and protecting the group when it comes to them needing to defend their base from other evil doers from Skylanders trying to take them down, or zombie hordes themselves. So either way, Boomer is a valuable ally, one that will be protected, so his intelligence or lack thereof will be counterfeited with the protection of others, so to say. Coming in at number 8 we have Stink Bomb, who's as low as this because he doesn't really have any offensive capabilities, so a horde of zombies would effectively screw him over. Even if he's launching shurikens in all directions just like Tidepool, it's going to be very easy for him to become overwhelmed. But unlike Tidepool, this character is extremely stealthy. That will make it very easy for him to get out of tough situations, and he has the intelligence to know when to fight and when to flight, so that natural instinct is going to keep him alive, and the fact that he can get himself out of practically any scenario utilizing his stealth based abilities is ultimately what's going to make him a great survivor of zombie apocalypse, as well as a very valuable member on your team to conduct stealth-based operations, so naturally that's going to give Stink Bomb reason to be protected by the rest of his group. So once again, just like Boomer, Stink Bomb will likely be a survivor with the help of others and his, of course, critical moveset in these dire times. Earlier with Stink Bomb I said moveset rather than skill set, but they're practically the same thing, so no harm is done. But moving it on to Star Strike at number 7, the reason she's so high is because, well, first of all, she has projectiles, so she can deal with zombies from a distance and not need to get up close, so that would minimalise her risk of course, being bitten, and not to mention she has great crowd control in a similar vein to Tidepool, because she could take out zombies from all directions with her fan attacks, her reflective attacks, and actually her reflective attacks give her a great sense of reaction. So because she could so easily hit back her orbs with her excellent reactions, is what would make her once again a excellent survivor of zombie apocalypse, due to the tools that she has to react to zombie hordes, to be intelligent enough to strategize her way out of dangerous situations, and overall just be able to concentrate on the zombies, take them down easily with her concentration and her reaction times, and just know what to do and be able to do it quickly in a calm, orderly fashion. Number 6 is going to be Hex. Now I can see her downfall being her compassion, since she could so easily protect others at the sacrifice of herself, because she has a wall of skulls which can keep zombies back, and they're not exactly smart enough to break through it in this iteration of a zombie infestation, you could say. And so naturally, so long as she puts herself before others when it comes to her protective capability, she should survive zombie apocalypse, but I can definitely see her compassion being her biggest downfall, as I opened with. But regardless, Hex is not only protective, but she's also a great distance keeper between herself and zombies, because while she's protected, she can utilize her orbs to take down zombies that are attacking her, wall of bones, or she can use a rain of skulls without the fear of a zombie sneaking up and biting her once again, because her wall of skulls are keeping them at bay, and utilize those of that skull rain of hers even to take out zombies within the mist of a horde. So either way, she has great horde control, great protective instincts, and that would make her an excellent survivor, so long as she doesn't put others before herself too often. Coming in at number 5 is Prison Break. Now no doubt you guys are thinking, what the heck is Prison Break doing so high in this list? Well, Prison Break has a very specific, very useful moveset that would, of course, be very well implemented into a zombie apocalypse to ensure his ultimate survival, because he would be an absolute horde dominator. All he'd need to do is set down his crystals, fire his laser into them, and then all of a sudden his laser has been reflected 9 times over, dealing with a huge lineup of zombies with a single blast, mind you. These zombies, so long as you deal a blow to the head, no matter how much damage you deal, is going to defeat them. So Prison Break's quick shot expertise at a greater level of type pool is going to make him just an absolute horde dominator, so no matter how many zombies are around him, he's going to easily take care of them, since he has his crowd control with his crystal explosion attack that can deal with zombies once they crowd around him, and then all of the zombies in his lineup will be defeated with ease as his laser is reflected through his crystals 9, 10, maybe even a dozen times over, and if he's doing that every single second, let's just say those zombies are not going to last long. And he has laser hands. With a gunshot, it's going to stop and lose all of its momentum as soon as it lands on a zombie's brain, mind you. But with Prison Break, his lasers will travel right through them and just go straight through the horde due to the fact that lasers don't stop, they don't lose momentum. And so naturally, Prison Break has the perfect skill set to absolutely dominate the hordes of zombies and survive the apocalypse in general. Though, just like Boomer, I can see one of Prison Break's main downfalls being his intelligence, since he seems to have rocks for brains. But speaking of intelligence, that is one important skill set in of itself for surviving the zombie apocalypse, and there is no Skylander more notorious for his brain power than Blastermind. So sure, his attacks might not be all that useful, but he could use his mind control to take over a zombie and, you know, have the zombies infighting amongst themselves, which could definitely be useful. And not to mention, he can also shift gravity, so he could be of great assistance to his allies, giving his allies incentive to protect him. So overall, it would be through Blastmind's protection from others that could ensure that he survives the zombie apocalypse in the long run, as well as his intelligence to get him out of really tricky situations. The fact that he has such sheer intelligence means that he can think his way out of just about any situation with logic and of course power. So naturally, Blastermind, having the skill set to intelligently think outside of the box and get himself out of any situation that any other Skylander would have no clue where to start, is what's going to make him a great survivor in the long run. Due to said intelligence, I cannot emphasize enough how important this intelligence will be in a zombie apocalypse of all things. But what good is intelligence without leadership? That's exactly where Bowser would thrive. He would be a great leader amongst a group of all things, which would naturally mean that everyone who serves him, you could say, as he is the leader, will want to protect him and ensure his survival for the sake of the group. So their sacrifices will ultimately give Bowser a great self-gain. And the fact that Bowser is a villain and has a lack of conscience will make it so that then it will come easy to him to sacrifice members of his group for his own survival's sakes. So naturally, that mindset to him, him putting himself at number one, is what's going to get him through the zombie apocalypse. Believe it or not, selfish people are the ones who survive the longest. It's the selfless ones who die first. And so Bowser, his sheer amount of power and his influence as a leader would definitely make him a force to be reckoned with when it comes to zombie hordes, and some excellent leadership he could utilize to get his group through tough situations and ensure the survival of the greatest number of them, mind you. And Bowser's clearly a great leader because he, you know, organizes and leads entire armies against Mario, and despite the fact that he obviously seems to get past him every time, you know, one Mario against 1,000 zombies, I'm pretty sure even Mario in that instance would outmaneuver them. So therefore, Bowser against zombie hordes and, you know, a group of survivors seems evenly matched, in my personal opinion. At number 2, we have Zulu for his unrivaled resourcefulness. He can summon birds to take down zombies in front of him towards the very back of the horde. So either way, he can use strategy in order to ensure that the zombies don't get near him and that later zombies don't cause a hassle for him. And I'm sure he's intelligent enough to work around this strategy. And on top of that, he also has allies. His wolves can tear apart zombies with ease, zombies, because believe me, wolves are going to be an absolute bugger for the zombies to deal with. They're small, hard to take down, and they have strong jaw strength to rip them apart. And better yet, Zulu doesn't need to worry about his conscience in nature, because his staff summon jade type creatures, which don't necessarily have any sort of biological system to them as like with real creatures, so his conscience doesn't need to get him away. He also has a boar, so if he's injured, he can summon the boar and ride that to get away from zombie hordes, even if it's slow. But believe me, a boar would still be faster than a horde of zombies approaching you. And like I said, with an injured leg, Zulu might not be able to move, but that's where his boar would come in handy. And should he need food, his wolves can dig that up for him. So overall, Zulu's resourcefulness will get him out of any bad situation he faces himself in, and will ultimately ensure his survival in the long run. But there is one Skylander. So far on this list, we've looked at 9 different skill sets: speed and accuracy, explosive expertise, stealth, reaction, protectiveness, if that's even a word. Then we've also got horde domination, intelligence, leadership, and resourcefulness. But there is one Skylander who possesses every single one of these skills, and that makes him the ultimate survivor of the zombie apocalypse, no matter the situation. This character is practically guaranteed to think outside of the box to ensure his ultimate survival and get out of just about anything that the world is throwing at him, and that character is Drobot. So he definitely has the speed and accuracy of Typal, since all he needs to do is blink in an enemy's direction, and his lasers that will once again pass through zombies and not lose any sort of momentum. And because it's blinking, it's accurate, and it's going to be incredibly quick, so that's going to give Drobot some horde domination skills. On top of that, he is extremely intelligent and resourceful. He managed to create his armor out of a box of scraps on an island. Who does that remind you of?
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps!
But getting back to the clip at hand, apart from that, he doesn't have much stealth, unfortunately. That's about the only skill he does lack. But his reactions are unparalleled. His suit would, of course, alert him to any sort of zombies incoming immediately. And so within seconds, I'm sure his intelligence would allow him to come up with a strategy to outwit the zombies and ultimately survive. On top of that, plus, with all of this intelligence and all of these skills he possesses, he's going to make a natural-born leader amongst the crowd. And because he's going to be so valuable to his team, they are going to want to protect him with everything they have. Not that he's going to need it, because he's going to be up in the front, taking out huge waves of zombies. And not to mention, he has a protective barrier with his afterburners that he can use to easily get out of dangerous situations, because just like Stink Bomb, he would possess a great instinct of fight or flight, once again due to his intelligence. So above all, Drobot's knowledge and resourcefulness will ensure that he can think outside the box to get out of any bad situation with ease and in quick, calm fashion. So he possesses the skill sets of just about every single Skylander present, and that's what makes him the most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse of any Skylander.